This episode of Dan 3.0 is brought to you by Assassin's Creed Brotherhood with single and multiplayer. It's available now. Hey world! After a much needed and appreciated week off, I am back and I'm ready to keep doing this Dan 3.0 thing. It's a new year, I am in a new city, and from my perspective anyway, this certainly seems like the beginning of the next chapter of this project. So today, what I would like to do is just talk pretty candidly with you about what my experience with Dan 3.0 has been like up until this point. And as I talk about that, I will simultaneously be completing a task submitted by Revision 3 username MercyFlush called Strange Positions, where they want me to shoot a video while I'm in weird positions, like being upside down and lying down on a staircase, and anything that I just think sounds like fun. Should be interesting. Before we get into that though, something significant has happened in my life, and it's something that I'm going to keep mostly private. I do, however, want to make sure that you at least know what's happened. Last week, I broke up with Danielle. Now, this isn't something that I care to dwell on, but at the same time, I also realize that this might come as a pretty big shock. So I'm not going to go into any details now, and I'm not going to go into a whole lot of details ever, but I do want to make sure that it doesn't seem to you guys like I'm just sweeping this under the rug and moving on. If you have a question about what happened, feel free to ask it in the comment section of this video on YouTube. I'm not going to answer everything, but I will answer some things, and all I ask is that in your questions, if you please try to just respect the sensitivity of the situation and respect the fact that there are, real human emotions involved here, I'd really appreciate it. But okay, on to cheerier things. Also on to stranger positions. When I announced Dan 3.0 at VidCon, I framed it in epically huge, lofty, world-changing terms to get you guys excited, to galvanize our community, and to start the project off with a bang. I knew that Dan 3.0 had serious potential, and I was as excited about it as I had ever been excited about anything in my entire life. But when one is as excited about something as I was excited about Dan 3.0, a funny thing starts to happen where you begin to think only about how things might go right, and not at all about how things might go wrong. But I don't want to sound all dark and dismal here, because most things went great right from the get-go. A lot of people were watching the show. The decision engine was active to the point where it actually crashed a couple of times. I felt like I was doing a really great job documenting my life. But when it got right down to the promise of actually giving you guys control of my life, I was overwhelmed. I didn't really know how to do it. In less than a month after the start of the project, I had to stop it. I had a meltdown. I fell off the face of the earth, and for 2 weeks you guys didn't have any idea where I had gone or what had happened to me. It was a bad deal. And I've got to be honest, at the beginning of those 2 weeks, I thought that Dan 3.0 was finished. I didn't think I was ever going to come back to the project. But after having some space, and after having some time to think about it, and after my manager came out to make sure I was okay and talk about things, I decided to keep going with it. And at this point, I am so glad that I did. In the 4 months that have passed since then, I feel like I've come to understand you guys, my audience, just a whole lot better. Going on that crazy 10,000-mile road trip and meeting and interacting with you guys in real life, that put a human face on what had until then just been the masses to me. And letting you guys decide where I should live for the rest of Dan 3.0, honestly, that straight up scared me. But I knew that in order to make this project work, I needed to let go. So I did. And you know what? You put me in an absolutely incredible city, San Francisco, California. It's the center of the tech universe, home of Revision 3. It's a city as quirky and weird as I am. I honestly don't think there would be a better home for Dan 3.0 anywhere on Earth. So these first 5 months of Dan 3.0 haven't gone at all like I initially thought they were going to, but in hindsight, they've still been incredibly positive. They haven't been easy, but I've learned a lot and I've grown a lot. And now that I'm settled somewhere, now that I actually have a place to call home, I'm ready to give this everything I've got. And I cannot wait to see what we can do with Dan 3.0 in 2011. This episode of Dan 3.0 is brought to you by Assassin's Creed Brotherhood with single and multiplayer. Master the possibilities and conquer Rome. As a legendary master assassin, experience over 15 hours of single-player gameplay set in the living, breathing, unpredictable city of Rome. Lead and control a legendary brotherhood. Recruit and train promising young assassins. Deploy them across Europe or call upon them to aid in your quests. Memorable multiplayer. multiplayer. Choose from multiple authentic character classes, each with their own signature weapons and killing moves. With richly detailed maps and a wide variety of unique multiplayer modes, you'll never fight the same way twice. Deploy secret weapons. Swiftly eliminate your enemies using tools such as poison darts, parachutes, tanks, double hidden blades, hidden guns, and an advanced flying machine. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. It's available now. Anywho, that just about does it for today's episode of Dan 3.0. Thank you oh so very much for watching, and I hope you'll tune in again on Wednesday for another wonderful episode of Dan 3.0.